Ready? 1, 2, 3. We got it. Nice work.
Thank you so much.
Are you capturing your process? As a brand photographer, I am constantly talking with my clients about capturing their process, and when I'm not with them, capturing behind the scenes content for their social media strategy and just to keep their audience engaged and entertained. Now, as a brand photographer, I too have to follow what I preach. And I have been capturing behind the scenes for years. I feel like pre-COVID is when I really started adding it into my process. And this is what I was using. I still use this today. So I have a small tripod. This is a Joby phone accessory. I would slide my phone in, set this to the side, hit time lapse, and go about my photo shoot. And that has worked great. And I love, coming home, adding them into my stories, creating reels. I can do video and some time lapse. In the beginning, time lapse was the most approachable because I just wanted to set it and forget it and come back in a few minutes and turn it off. And that's what I've been consistently doing for probably over 5 years. But over that time, as we are creatives, I was getting not bored, but I wanted something different. And I've been seeing all these point of view videos out with other creatives capturing this really cool perspective. And so that ended up being the Insta 360. So I ended up buying the Insta 360. This is the 4. And I've been having so much fun with this new perspective, so much engagement, so many people asking me, where's your camera person? They think I have a camera crew with me. They can't understand how I'm capturing this perspective. So in that respect, that's been a lot of fun. And it's nice for people to kind of see, almost like walking with me during a photo shoot. So I thought I would talk about the camera. Since I've done this a few times, talk about my setup, talk about how I am doing this when I'm on location. Yes, it looks silly, but the results are worth it. Just like when we have our speed light with a modifier on top. That looks silly, but we do it because the shots are great. So the first thing is, and I'm just going to grab my camera here. All right, so when you buy the Insta 360, it comes just like this. This is a back plate that you can just apply to help with heat in the fan. It also comes with these lens protectors, which are great too. I was having trouble once I was out on location, fumbling to get these off nicely and not hurt anything. I ended up buying this action pack, which came with this lens protector. And I'm finding this is so much easier. I know they're protected. I can travel this way, and then I can slide this right off when I'm ready to shoot. So just my own preference. I also ended up getting a backup battery too, but honestly, since I've been using it, I'm only doing a few clips at a time. I'll turn it on and off depending on what I'm doing. Maybe a shoot would be 2 hours or so. I haven't had trouble with the battery life, but I do have a backup in the event that I'm shooting longer, let's say over an hour straight. I may consider having that second battery. Okay, so that is essentially for the camera. Now inside the battery portion, so if you just pop that open, that is where your memory card sits. And I ended up getting, let me pop this out here. This is a 256. So memory pricing has come down a lot. So I try to get the largest that I think is doable for the project. So I try to get the largest card that I can. And that just sits right in the battery. So when I come home after a shoot, I am removing that little memory card, and now I go to the import on my camera, which I'll show you when we jump into the software. The section above the battery, that is where I'm charging. So I'm using that cord, I'm charging it up before a session all the time, just so I have fresh batteries ready to go. All right, so on the other side, this is where your power button is. And when you click on it, a blue light will appear. When you're shooting and you're capturing the video, a red light will appear. So I'm always looking when I hit this little circle button here to press to play or to capture, record, it will turn red. So I know that that's always working. All right, so on the screen itself, there's two things that I am doing. When I am capturing some behind the scenes in my car, maybe while I'm driving to a location or once I arrive to a location, I want to talk to camera, I don't need that 360 view. So I will hop over to a single view so I can capture that video. And what you do is there is on the right-hand side, there's this button. The top will say 360 or single lens. So I always pop over to the single lens. And now I have, so let me actually record this. Okay, so once I pop over to the single lens, now I have that single view versus that 360 view. So I will capture a few seconds about this and talk to my audience on what I'm doing for that shoot. And then I just hit that circle button again and it will stop recording. Okay, so then once I get on location, I will make sure that I change it back to 360 view. Okay, and I have it set for 4K at 30 frames per second. I can click on the little button down below where it reads that, and that's where you can change up your frame rates and your resolution. So you can go up to 100 frame rate, 60, 50, 30, 25, and 24. I'm keeping it at 30. The resolution 4K, 5.7, 5.7K, all the way up to 8. So I'm keeping it at 4K, 30 frames per second. Okay, keeping it simple. So then once I am on location, I'm just going to put this cap on to protect. This is how I'm setting it up. So I have my Canon R5C here. Okay, so I have this accessory that I can mount all sorts of gear, video gear, anything with this type of mount, which we have for the 360, this is going to work. I have another one from Small Rig, and that can work perfectly fine too. It's all black, so when I'm doing the video, I can see these little red pieces. I don't think anyone really else is noticing. I can see them, and this is where it's coming from, these little red pieces. So I have this seated on top. Then for the whole kit, I have the Insta360. This is the tripod piece. So if I'm not using this camera setup and I wanted this at a distance, I do have the tripod piece handy. So I just bring it just in case. But this is the Insta360. This is like their selfie stick, and I'll list everything below so you can research. But essentially it has this adapter piece that I can screw this on, and if it's not straight, as I can tell it's not straight, I can kind of move this around so it's straight. Okay. And if you know much about the 360, is this perspective, this skinny selfie stick it will disappear. So all you're seeing is the camera piece. So I could keep it like this. I can also extend it if I wanted to. So now at the base of the 360, I can now attach the camera. And what I do is so I'm just going to tighten this up a little bit. And now I'm going to pivot this so I want to see the screen So I have the screen facing me. So the screen side, so I can see. Because once we get into the software, I can change around the perspective and get what I need. So as you could hear, once you're not actively using it for a few minutes, it will automatically shut off, which is great for battery life. But for setup, this is what I have. I may go a little bit higher. It really depends on where I'm shooting. If I'm outside, I may go a little bit higher. If I'm indoors at a client's business or studio or office, there may be ceiling height issues. So I might want it a little bit closer. So this is essentially the setup. And once I am shooting, this is what I look like. And my lens on, of course. Yes, it looks ridiculous, but I love the results. Let's go into the software so I can show you how I'm manipulating the footage and then exporting it. I typically will then use Canva to kind of package up my reels or stories that I'm going to use. But I wanted to show you, this is the setup. Then we go into the software, the Insta360 software, to get the exact clip that we need. Okay, all right, let's head over to the software now. Okay, so here we are. We've launched Insta360. This is the software. You can come in here, you can click on New Project, and you can title it. So I'm just going to grab that little clip that I just recorded. And I'll place that in the correct folder. And this is where, if you were placing the content for social media, you want the 9x16. This is for the 16:9, which is what we want because we're going to add this to the video. Now you can have all the images imported here. They're .insv, and when you export, they'll be the MV4. I want to just select images. I'm just going to click and drag over into here. I'm just going to grab another one just so you can see the difference. All right. So now we have two files in here. Here, this is a 360 camera view. This is a single view. So this is the one that I just created in the video here. So I can just click and drag this right into the timeline, and the timeline appears. So I can play it back. It's capturing my audio. Okay, so once I pop over to the single lens, now I have that single view versus that 360 view. Okay, so that's all I need. So I'm just going to highlight this so it's yellow, and you have some tools up here. So if I wanted to just clip, going to clip here, and that clips the end. If I wanted to split it and then continue or add another clip somewhere, I could always just split it this way, and now it's two separate clips. But I don't even need this clip. We just need something pretty quick. You could take the audio out. You could just have the arrows appear here and just slide it down. And then now it's just the video. Okay, and we could even shorten this. I'm just going to slide this over and just shorten this video so we have this for the video we're making here. So I'm just going to click export. Everything dropped in as we already set up for that project. And I'm just going to export. This shouldn't take too long because it's pretty quick. And now that's done. Okay, so I'm actually going to delete this off the timeline. I just wanted to show you for the 360, I'm going to drop this clip in. And this is going to be much longer. So if I just scrub over it, you can see what I'm capturing. Maybe there's this one moment that I wanted to capture. When I'm in this view, I'm going to bring the playhead all the way back to the beginning. When I'm in this view, I can bring my cursor to the screen, and this is where I can change things around. So if I wanted to create a video that includes me shooting. Let me just back up a little, move ahead a little bit. Then I could change the point of view so you can see me a little bit more as I'm shooting if I wanted to create that type of video. If I wanted to create more of what's going on, I could zoom in as well and capture what's happening during this day. I could, maybe I want to focus on what's happening in this dahlia farm. I could zoom in, move up. And over on the reframe side, on the right-hand side, you can actually do a tiny planet. So I'm just going to click tiny planet so you can see. So we'll generate that. Now, since it's a movie, if I play it back, you'll see me, if I zoom in a little bit, and I can move it around. I mean, the little truck's so cute. I can take the audio out if I want. And if I took the audio out, I could also, down below here where we're with the trash can and or the delete, we could speed it up. So the first thing, if I like this perspective now, so I don't need myself turning it on, so I'm just going to bring it up to here. I always keyframe. Once I get a perspective that I like, I always keyframe by clicking on this plus. So I'm adding a keyframe in the beginning. Maybe as I'm going, maybe I want to speed this whole thing up. You can click on this lightning bolt. You can go fast. Let's see what 8 looks like. Play it back. And see how I'm moving through. It's a pretty quick clip. Maybe 8 is too fast. Maybe I go 4. I just think it's a fun perspective. So I'm just going to shorten it so it doesn't, you don't see me turn the camera off. And maybe I show those images that I'm taking because those were some cute moments. If I don't want the whole mini planet, I can click off the tiny planet, excuse me. I can click that off. Okay. And then go back to, there's mega. That's what I was on before. And I can capture it this way. So let's see what it looks like with the time lapse. So see, I had hit tiny planet in the beginning, so I need to shut that off. Go back to mega. And see how it's zooming in. And that's because that tiny planet was still sort of there. Or actually, if you click in on the timeline, let me see if I can, you can expand the timeline over here on the right-hand side. So then you can see this track. So this is when I was reframing it. And that actually looks pretty cool. I like that. Let's play it back. So let me reframe. I'm just going to drag this up a little bit so you can see my camera. I'm going to keyframe here. Don't want it to be a tiny planet though. You can have a lot of fun in here, do all sorts of cool things. It kind of zooms in and then zooms in over here. So there were 2 key images I took there, so that could be a fun one to play with. And that's the basics. I could then take this, I could bring this over to Instagram and just have it cut right down the middle and have that view. But for the most part, that's a great spot to keep it very simple, grab the piece of content that I need. I don't have to even cut much out of this. I sped it up so it's only, you can see here it's 7 seconds. And now I can export. I can, I'll just keep it in that same spot. Everything looks good. I'll export this one out. Okay, so this has been a lot of fun. So much more possibilities with this type of camera. We'll export this. I'll add it to the video so we can see it again, but how I might use this in social media. I might actually next bring you into Canva and show you what I would do next. All right, let's export and let's jump over to Canva. Now we are in Canva. This is the Instagram story format. There's always the movie format too, but this is the one that I've been using before. So this is what I'm sticking to. So here is our video that we just created in Insta 360, and it's in that horizontal format, but you could either, knowing how you're going to use it kind of depends on what format you're going to export. I just want to show you, I can click and drag this over and it will go into that format for me, and I can move it around if I need to in respect to the horizontal, if I wanted to change this up. But this is actually looks pretty good to me. And there are moments, there's like 2 or 3 shots. There's 2 shots there, and then there's a shot when I move over to here. So what I've been doing over in social media is just as I'm shooting, I'm popping the images above. So I'm going to make this duration, click on the duration. Now I can see this whole line. It's about 7.5 seconds. So right about, I'm just going to click on it and click on the 7.5 seconds up here. So right about when I walk up, I'm going to pause it. I'm going to click on these 3 little dots. I'm going to split right there. And I'm going to play it again. So let's see, I'm walking over. I'm going to split here. I'm just splitting it up so you can see what happens. Okay. And then I'm going to, when I finish there, I'm going to split again. Now I can also just hit the letter S for splitting. And then when I turn to her, there's another image. I might just split it again. I'm going to hit S. Okay. So now let's roll back. So I like this kind of intro. So I'm like moving over to the space. Once I'm here, stop it for a second. Let's see. Moving over to the space. I have a picture here. So I'm going to go over to my images. This is the first image when I'm like crouching down. And I'm just going to bring this up to the top so people can see the image that was taken. So if I play it back, I'm going to bring this all the way to the beginning. Come on. It's only 1.2 seconds, so it's pretty fast. So on top of this one, I'm going to capture this image. And you can put it at the bottom if you want. Let's see how that plays out. And then here at the end, I know I want this shot. And these are always good, the images for when they're talking about this event again next year, how people, what they walk away with. Okay, so now I'm going to play it back. That image, it's kind of, let me play it back this way. See, it's a little bit smoother. Okay, it might be because I have other things running, but it's running pretty slow. An alternative could be, just to show you here, I could drop in the video just to say that wasn't working. I could drop the video in, and play the video, 7.5 seconds long. People could watch it. And then the next couple slides, I can then show them the 3 images. And just stack them, make sure they're even, so I just capture them. Then I could almost do a photo flow, maybe not 5 seconds, maybe 3.5 seconds. So I can split it up and have the images pop up as I'm working, or I could just create one where you're just following me with the 360 view, watching me, and then I could show the images at the end. So 2 different ways, 2 different methods. This one just is just processing a little bit slower, but I've done this in the past too. Okay, so if I wanted the last 2, I'm just gonna, maybe I'll just delete this out. I'll show you how you export. Oops, that's not what I wanted to delete. Okay, so now we just have these 2. I could add text in Canva here. I typically will add text in Instagram. It really depends on the amount of text and what I'm writing. I can do a title here, 360 farm event. So I know it's 10.9 seconds. You can click share, click download. I want both pages to be together as a video, so I'm going to choose MP4, all pages, and then download. And then I can share this on my social media platforms. All right, so I really hope that you are going to capture your process on your next photo shoot. If you enjoyed this video, you're going to enjoy this next one. It's all about how to start adding video into your brand photography business for your clients. If their clients have not asked you already, if you shoot video, get ready, and this video will be a great starting point for you. Okay, see you there.